Unlocked is brought to you by Invincible, a program designed to unlock the potential of people and teams inside your organization. Join companies like Pfizer, Delta, the CDC, Google, and Chick-fil-A, and others in over 116 countries that are currently using this program to increase productivity and develop healthy cultures. Access hundreds of hours of content that is accessible anytime, anywhere. And finally, use real-time data to understand the health of every team inside your organization, which teams are performing and which ones aren't. Then understand the why behind that performance. Get free access to Invincible for 30 days by visiting www.giant.tv/30days. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Unlocked, where we talk about unlocking the potential of people in order to unlock the potential of our organizations. Today, I have Sangeeta Waldron. Did you hear that name? Not to be confused with the Waldron that I am, although I wish I was related to Sangeeta because she's pretty awesome, and you're gonna hear more about that here. She is an award-winning publicist and published author. She just released her second book called Corporate Responsibility is Not Public Relations. And we are going to talk about that, corporate social responsibility, and what that means for you and for your business, and why you should be interested in this, and why you need to really pay attention to it. Even her 70-plus-year-old mother-in-law read the book and got something out of it. So I guarantee you'll get something out of it. In this interview, we talk about that. We talk about the responsibility that we have as business owners and as businesses to invest in our people and invest in the environment and the globe to make sure that we are being people that have values, companies that have values, companies that have purpose, to draw in the people that we want to stay with us. So let's get on with this interview. Sangeeta, here we come. Sangeeta, it is so good. Or should I call you Miss Waldron? Not to be related to not my wife or my sister, or I don't know, maybe we are related in some way.
Maybe we are in some universe.
Some universe somewhere, but it's awesome having you on the show today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So your book, Corporate Social Responsibility is Not PR. It's released in the UK. It's about to release here in the States. So by the time people hear this, it will probably be out. Glory. So let's talk about that. So I would think, because I've worked in this space of design and helping get messages out, whether it's an annual report or a sustainability report or a social responsibility report or something, right? So to me, I look at it and go, well, it is kind of a PR thing, but you're saying no, it's not just PR.
No, it's never been PR. It's never been PR. So corporate social responsibility, or we'll call it CSR for short, has always been the poor cousin, in the corporate world. No one's ever really known where to put it. So it used to be sometimes stuck on within comms. Sometimes it used to be within human resources. No one really knew how to deal with it. Now, corporate social responsibility is being really understood because there's so much research showing that consumers, employees, they want to work with businesses, or they want to spend their money with businesses that are purpose-led or are authentic. They're doing the right thing by the planet. They're not just paying lip service to their CSR initiatives. So when your CSR is authentic, then your public relations, your publicity, your media coverage just flows effortlessly. You don't have to work hard at it. And we're living in a digital age at the moment where everything is online. And when your CSR or you're going to be called out on not doing the right thing, then you're in crisis mode. That's when your crisis PR kicks in. So that's why CSR is so much more important than PR. Your PR is not built just around your brand, just around your product. It has to be built around your corporate social responsibility. And your corporate social responsibility has to be baked into your business strategy at the heart of your brand.
Okay, so let's back up and let's talk about what it is. What is corporate social responsibility for business? Let's just define that baseline for us.
It's the values that you have within your organization and your commitment towards the planet. So and any business, and whether you're a big business, a small business, startup, established, you can all have CSR values, and you don't have to have many. You can have, a minimum of even one. So sorry, my phone is ringing. No one ever rings my landline.
It's not me. Somebody's calling your landline.
Yeah, no one ever calls a landline.
Only when you're on interviews.
There's my voicemail.
No problem. Should we all just listen and see what your voicemail has?
No, they're not leaving a message. God only knows.
Because nobody ever does that anymore either, right?
Oh God, who rings the landline? Anyway, so back to CSR. So you can have as minimum of, as one simple core value, or as many as 10. But I always say, have 4, 5 things that you can actually deliver on, because that's key. You don't just want to pay lip service to it. And there's a term now you might have heard called greenwashing, which is where you're not really doing CSR, you're just doing CSR for the PR. And that's not what it's about. It's not about the spin. So really, the bottom line, it's the values you're working by.
I was going to say that same thing. So being in the space and seeing that people are going to look out there and go, oh, everybody's doing this. Oh, people are only going to spend money with businesses that do it. Oh, businesses are only going to work with businesses that do it. I guess we better do it. So they just kind of do it reluctantly, just to be compliant, just to get some kind of thing out there to look like they truly believe in it. But what's the difference between those companies that do it with a soul and a purpose and those that are just doing it to just do it?
They're not sustainable. They'll get caught out. And we're living in a digital age right now. And once that spotlight is on you, and you're not doing the right thing, your own consumers, even your own employees, will call you out. And I always think of this song. I won't sing it, but it's, there's nowhere to hide.
You can do it.
There's nowhere to run, and that song always echoes in my mind when people say, we'll just do CSR just to tick a box. You can't be ticking a box anymore.
Well, let's talk about that in relation to maybe, this whole thing that happened with 2020 here in the States, with a lot of the racial disparities that came up and conflict, and with COVID that happened globally. What did we see there? What did the companies that do CSR right, how did they come out of that situation versus the ones that were being called out, versus the companies that were being like, the employees were coming out saying, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I know you say that you're inclusive and that you love diversity, but not so much, right? So did we see any examples of that?
Yeah, so just on that, the issues that were happening in America on race, they affected not just America. There were conversations that we were having here too, and we are still having those conversations. They're conversations that are relevant to everyone around the world, to all companies that are operating, because we're now no longer living in something called local, it's global. So companies are affected by all these kinds of conversations. Those companies that have done really well, yes, we've also had the pandemic, the global pandemic, which has had not just a financial loss, but an emotional and well-being loss to everyone, including organizations and companies. And I read recently that Nike that got it right on diversity and inclusion during that time last year. While they weren't, they were also in a lockdown, they couldn't sell as much. But what they did see was a spike in their social media. There was a spike in their engagement. And when they did reopen, they had the consumers coming in. Those organizations that didn't do so well on that, they've lost that engagement, and they've also had to firefight some of that that crisis online. They've had to spend time to counteract some of those conversations that were happening.
What is this hashtag PR fail? What's the idea behind that?
Crisis management. So when your CSR is not authentic, or you're online and you're being cancelled, there's now, we're seeing this cancel culture. That's your PR fail. That's when you've got to then think about how you're going to be responding to these allegations or to these criticisms. What are you going to do to protect your brand and your reputation? Because you need to protect your brand, you need to protect your reputation if you want to collaborate, whether you want to continue in the business world, whether you want to continue, engaging consumers. That's what what we're talking about with the PR fail. And there's a really good example that I can give you from here in the UK. We had, it's still operating. It's an online fast fashion company called boohoo.com. It made all the national news here. And during the pandemic last year, when the UK went into its first lockdown in March, that company was found to have not been treating its employees very well. So they weren't even paying them the minimum wage. They were working in very close proximity, and they were doing all the wrong things. And when they were called out, boohoo.com saw that its share value went down and investors started to pull out. That is, the repercussions of PR fail.
Okay. And that could have been prevented with an authentic CSR strategy.
Yeah, and doing the right thing. Why wouldn't you want to do the right thing by your employees? Why wouldn't you want to produce authentically, work with authentic suppliers? Why wouldn't you want to put back into the planet that we're all taking from and living on, and doing the right thing by your community?
Right.
It just doesn't add up. Why wouldn't you?
I know. It's in this day and age, understanding that people are the drivers behind all profitability, right? And in essence, right? Yeah, you've got manufacturing, you've got production, you've got all those things that go into play, but the people are always going to be behind the machine. The people are always going to be what drives this. So let's talk about the people angle and CSR, because when you look at CSR, some people will say, well, CSR, that's the values, that's kind of it's a PR thing, it's a branding thing, it's a messaging thing, it's a cultural thing, right? But how do people fit into that, and what does it benefit? How does it, with the premise of the show, how does it unlock the potential of people by having a solid CSR strategy?
Well, CSR is a people thing. And again, in the book, I've outlined that, and this year alone, there has been so many surveys and data showing that employees want to work for purpose-driven companies. They want to work with businesses, organizations that are making a difference. They want to feel valued. And if they don't feel the company is delivering on real authentic CSR, they're leaving. So if you have strong CSR values, you're going to attract talent, you're going to keep talent, you'll attract, the best talent in the marketplace. And also, we also need to be thinking about the next generation. And the next generation are already looking where they want to work, what companies are doing, and they already have that relationship with brands because they're the consumer right now. But one day they're going to be your potential employee. So if you haven't got these things lined up, you're not going to be attracting the right talent at all. And talent is, it's about well-being in the workplace, and that's something this pandemic has shown us. It's about well-being in the workplace. It's about working from home. How do you make that possible is their flexibility. All these things are about, unlocking people's potential to work, better. People thrive when they feel valued, and they'll give more, they'll give the extra.
So true. So true. And we've seen that. And we saw, I think, a lot of in my opinion, some of the fallout from pandemic times, right? It was pretty immediate. It was pretty fast that the whole lockdown came in and layoffs happened, and there was a huge spike in unemployment across the world, and all these things were happening. And the time to incorporate a CSR strategy was not in March of 2020, right? like being a proactive organization, investing in that years ahead of time, and is where the fruits of that would have shown up in March of 2020, right? Or April. That's when the fruits of that would have shown up, and your share price would have gone up. Your people would have been felt invested in. I mean, people get it, right? They're like, oh, times are hard. Oh, companies, I get it that I'm laid off for a certain reason, but the way I've been treated, the way I've been, I get it, right? As opposed to, wow, those people have treated me horribly for the past little while, and now they're saying all these things, but they're not really that. So there's a lot of that going on. The investment that we make ahead of time is where that's really going to come into play.
Pays off. Yes, it pays off. And also what we saw during the pandemic, especially here in the UK, those shops on our high streets that are allowed to remain open, which were supermarkets, those supermarkets that weren't valuing their own employees, the public who were going into shop, they were calling them out on social media. So again, and employees working there was saying, that we're not being treated very well here. And so again, it comes down to this digital age we're living in. When employees are not happy, they'll call you out too.
And you've seen that, you've seen a lot of that chatter with the Amazon people, recently, right? Yes. I mean, we saw a huge spike, obviously, in Amazon's profitability and Amazon's just business model. I mean, everybody's at home delivery spiked, and but you saw a lot of the employees calling them out on certain things within that space.
Yeah, they weren't feeling safe. They were not happy. And that's, happiness is a benchmark. Happiness can now be measured at work. So these are all, before they were all considered fluffy, hippie, but now they are metrics within organizations. And I think while the pandemic has been really tough, it's also accelerated a lot of these positives that we're looking for within workplaces. If the pandemic has given us anything positive, I would say that would be one of those things.
Right on. I agree completely. So the book, why did you decide to write this book?
Oh, for many reasons. I think the main reason is I've been over 30 years in public relations, and along the way I've worked with some very big corporates, small organizations, and I've seen some of them not always do the right thing, pay lip service to their CSR. So I wanted to show that there is a better way of doing your corporate social responsibility. And also, the business world is so important. We rely on the business world to operate well. And I wanted to show businesses there is a very easy way to build in corporate social responsibility within their business strategies and do the right thing by the planet. We started 2020, believe it or not, last year. It wasn't the pandemic we were watching on our news. It was about the bushfires in Australia. It was about the plastic pollution. And those were some of the issues that I thought, wow, if I can just play a very small part in getting people to think differently, then, that's a positive. And I wanted to write a book that wasn't full of business jargon, that was just very simple to read, easy to understand. So we can all do it, it's just to do it, to get on and do it.
Okay. And who's this book for, and what will they what will kind of, how's it structured? What will I get out of it?
Well, the book is for anyone. It's for anyone interested in how to do business better. So whether you're a startup, whether you're you're a going business, you've got an idea for a business and you haven't yet started, you're in public relations and marketing, you're a CEO of an organization. My own mother-in-law, she read it, she's in her 70s, and she said, wow, I knew a lot of this stuff. I didn't realize what it was. So this is a book for everyone, and it's been written in that style. And what will you learn out of it? You'll learn how to put CSR within your business strategy, what makes a good brand. You'll learn about how investors are now looking at companies to see where they're going to put their money and how good a company is. You'll learn about ESGs. You'll learn about the future of CSR, what's going on. You'll learn, and also I've got a special chapter on India. And the reason why I chose India, because we have this misnomer here in the West that we're always going to teach the East, but actually there's a lot the East can teach us. And India is the first country in the world to have implemented a mandatory corporate social responsibility law in 2014. And I think that's pretty, amazing. And so I have a whole chapter there on India, and also how yoga can create a sustainable mindset. So there's something in there for everyone.
Wow.
And I've also done 15 global interviews from around the world. So I've spoken to entrepreneurs in America, Africa, India, Europe, where they've all shared their CSR knowledge, some of the things that worked for them, and so I think we all learn from the power of storytelling. So there are those 15 different interviews.
Well, it sounds like a lot went into this, so that's really cool. And if a 70 plus year old mother-in-law can get something out of this, I think we all can. So where can we get a hold of this book?
You can get a hold of the book. It's on Amazon. It's right in here in the UK. It's in all good shops. That doesn't help you guys where you are, but it is available on Amazon. Book Depository is posting the book without any postal charges. So and it's sending the book globally. So yes, and it will be in the US in all good bookshops, coming to you. I can't even say that. Coming to you soon. That's why I'm not in advertising.
Oh, so good, so good. So not only do you have the smartest name of anybody I've ever interviewed, right?
Wow, yeah, I take that.
Of course, right,
yeah.
right. With
I'm owning it. I'm owning it.
Yeah, do it. But you seem very smart in your approach to how you want to educate the world about CSR and what that has to do with being a profitable business and increasing market share and investing in your people.
Yeah, and you just said something there that you just reminded me, which is really key to this, is there is, again, this kind of myth that if you are CSR led, you cannot be profitable. That's not true. When you have CSR at the heart of your brand, you attract talent, you keep your staff, so you're not constantly retraining, you attract investors, you attract consumers, and in fact you don't really have to do your marketing, because everyone's doing the marketing for you, because they're talking about you, how great you are, why you need to be buying from this brand. And there is nothing like that. And you also have loyal consumers, and there's a lot to be said about loyalty these days, because it's been on the decline.
I talk about loyalty all day, every day, especially when coming from the brand and marketing world of creating customer loyalty. Now I talk about creating leadership loyalty, employee loyalty, and organizational loyalty inside your teams. And it's got to be there. That's the ultimate. Once you get that, there is no other. So yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, and then you're just coasting. You don't really have to work hard at it, because you're doing the doing. And You might have to invest a little bit in the beginning in corporate social responsibility, but all the good things you have to work hard at. But then you'll see, your garden of fruits just there, and it will just self-multiply.
Right on. Sangeeta, this has been awesome. I've loved this conversation. Been looking forward to it for months now. Thanks for being on the show, and good luck on the book launch and everything else you're doing over there.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I hope now that you're able to recognize just a little bit more the importance of having a corporate social responsibility strategy in place and what that means for your organization and what that means for your people. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is part of having a CSR strategy, is part of that whole CSR movement. And statistics, and Sangeeta told me this, I don't know if she said it in the interview, but she said it before when we were talking, 67% of companies are going to work with other companies that have a DEI plan in place. 67% said that they will only work with companies that have a DEI plan in place. Did I say that clear the second time? I think I did. So that is a big deal. Having that, being intentional about having that is going to go a long way for you and your future and the people that you are investing in every day to help run your company. So thank you, Sangeeta, for being here. Good luck with the book launch. If you want to find out more about me, you can go to skotwaldron.com. Go visit my YouTube channel, like, subscribe, comment. There's a bunch of interviews there. I have a bunch of free tools about leadership, about team communication, about unlocking the potential of you and your people. And I appreciate it. LinkedIn, follow me there, connect with me there. Let's do it. Thank you, everybody, for being here again. This has been an episode of Unlocked, and I'll see you next time.